All right, it's a little bit early, but we thought, hey, everybody's here. You guys want to get started? Cool. Welcome to our 2022 clinics. My name's Jerry. I have to tell you that because I forgot my badge. It's in my truck. The one that usually tows the trailer. So I change vehicles. I forget them. I might have to get another badge and put it in my other car. Okay, we can start off. And of course, I didn't think to print my presentation this time, so I have to kind of.
No name badge, no presentation.
That's okay. I did this, did a article on this in our newsletter here, I think last year. Something that I came up with. You can go to the first slide. Early on, I got a bunch of these little bearing sets that you use to put your locos on and test them out and stuff. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with these things, but trying to set them up and juggle all the wheels and axles and everything. And if you've got more than a 4-axle diesel, it's hard juggling to get all them on, right? So I kind of originally wanted a way to just be able to set my loco straight on it. And then as I was thinking about it and planning, I thought, well, why not make it so I can just drive the locomotive right on there, you know, like a dyno. And so I came up with this little idea, and then it kind of grew into a monster because I decided, well, how about I build spacers for each loco, and everyone's different. So anyway, it utilizes the bearings at the front end of the stand here. I've got basically these all sit on here on a 1x4, and then I've got this part is stationary, and then I just add bearings and spacers depending on the locomotive. Can go to the next slide there. Ah yes, my planning. My spiral notebook I call my brain. And some old school, since I'm not so good with computer drawing yet, the old school way of mapping things out and drawing and redrawing and remeasuring. And anyway, how I basically came up with the idea and worked out all the details. I had all kinds of different, originally I was gonna dovetail the thing and put them, you know, and then I was like, I'm gonna have to cut those. And then I thought, well, why not just make them sit over the top of the board? Next slide. I started with the 1x4 base. About 4 feet long. And then I've got the little, about a 4-inch approach that's solid. And then on the other end, I've got the long approach for kind of set your locomotive on, or you could set this up somehow so you've got like a siding on your railroad where you can just come right on it. But I built this in my shop because I run a lot of battery power and I don't run them all the time, and I got a lot of locomotives, so I want to like run the batteries, drain them, and then recharge them every once in a while, and kind of see how long my locos will run. So I start out with some 1/2-inch plywood, and for the bearings, I made those 2 inches long. The width is, everything on the width is 3.5 inches, so that when I put the little, I just use 1x4 or lattice lath for the sides, and by making those just a hair over 3.5 inches, it sets over the 1x4 nice and easy. But on the bearing ones, I had to, I just used the 1/2 inch, and I had to put holes because the bolts on the bottom of the bearings, they stick through, and so I just drilled 4 bigger holes so that it can kind of sit in there, and then I adjust it, and then I put 4 screws through the top of it. Okay, next slide. So I had one locomotive that had to be different, and the 2-inch bearing was too wide, so it was the Bachmann consolidation. So I had to make a couple of bearings that were 1 7/8 inch wide. I was able to find the screws and the aluminum at the local hardware store. The bearings I found on Amazon So you can see on the white plastic there, you can see the 4 screws that hold it down, the little black screws there. And that plastic across the middle is to insulate it, so if you wanted to, you could hook up power to these and run electric, track power trains. Next slide. Okay. Yeah, so the bearings I found on Amazon, it's about $10 for 10 bearings, and they're the same exact ones that come with the Aristocrat, or the other bearing sets. I think they're Aristocrat. So I used 1x1 aluminum angle, tapped the threads and cut a piece of 3/16 styrene to mount the angles to the floor with 3mm screws. Drilling number 39 holes and tapping. The plastic piece is of course an insulator. But then now I had the bearing sets, I needed spacers in between. So each truck, there's truck spacers and then there's center spacers. This one I got set up for a GP38, USA trains. And so it takes 4 bearing sets. It takes 2 1 3/4 inch spacers for the trucks. And then I believe the center spacer is a 8 1/4 inch. I also, when I cut the rails for the spacers, I cut them about a 1/2 inch long. So that way I could put 45-degree angles on them. And that way they come up real close to the bearings. And trains run over it really easy. Let's see. And then, of course, when you only have 1 or 2 ties on the little spacers, they kind of jiggle around, so I had to super glue the rails to the ties. Wasn't too bad, except I decided to make sets for each locomotive I have, which is like 19 different spacer sets. I ended up building a Excel spreadsheet so I could figure out which spacers go with which loco, and in which order. Okay, the next slide, I think I got a link to a short video. Can we? All right, well, it's just a quick video of the GP38 driving onto the bearing sets. If you go to my YouTube channel, I only got a couple of videos on there that I put in there a long time ago other than this one. I've been meaning to do, now that I got a GoPro and a 3D printer, I've been meaning to have Mark teach me how to edit videos so I can post more cool stuff on my own channel and probably our club channel too.
Okay.
Yeah. You get money for YouTube? Only if you
have to have 1,000 subscribers and you have to have 4,000 hours of viewing per year.
Yeah, you gotta be into it.
With my channel now, I'm at 500 subscribers and I'm about 1,000 hours of viewing.
And he's got quite a few videos up there.
Yeah.
I like Mark's videos. Yeah, no, I still work for a living, so I couldn't.
Retire on YouTube.
Right. Any other questions on these? All right, yeah, if you wanna make one, go ahead. You know, it's a lot of fun and a lot of rail training. Okay. Well, I think that's it for the presentation. So I guess in closing, I want to thank everybody who did present and all y'all for showing up and putting up, sitting in these seats for a couple hours.
Thanks for your hard work putting this thing together, too.
Yes, thank you.
Very welcome. Yeah, Mike Phillips was doing it up until now the last few years, and so I got a lot of, I picked his brain quite a bit. Getting on time so we can have a good day. So we're going to start out with Norm.